What's up? It's your boy D Change coming at you with another Daily Dave. This one's heavy, so I've got the dog with me to provide some moral support. Um, if you want a rundown of what happened, you can look up on Wikipedia the George Floyd protests or the killing of George Floyd. I've been mentally exhausted the past few days. That's why I haven't done a Daily Dave in a while, because I honestly don't even know what I want to say about this. And I've already attempted to record this video multiple times, and I think every single time I've tried, I've gotten angrier. Uh, Not a good sign. Yeah, I just feel incredible amounts of anger, frustration, anxiety, sadness, mourning, rage. It just makes me really question a lot of things, about us, our communities, our country, the United States, and how everything fits in together and throughout the world. We're at a point where there's a protest in every state now. You could argue that that's the first time we've had all 50 states agree on something. But that's a very memey way to look at it, and it's not particularly true, because there's plenty of people who are willing to speak out against the protests. And there's protests all over the world too, in solidarity of Black Lives Matter, and I find that incredible. And I guess, I don't know, maybe my grievance is that I see a lot of criticism of the movement, rightfully so, because it's about the looting, oh my gosh, the rioting, the looting, and the vandalism. And it's very understandable. Yes, there are plenty of small store owners, small business owners who are hurting a lot from this. There's also instances of them stating that they want justice served. They understand that, things, material things and property can be replaced, but George Floyd's life cannot. And I've also heard stuff like, why this time? Why George Floyd? What made him special? Are we going to go through the list? Are we going to be like, what about Breonna Taylor? What about Ahmaud Arbery? What about Sean Reed? What about Tony McDade? Hell, I was listening to an NPR episode about Freddie Gray. What about Trayvon Martin? What about Eric Garner, right? Are we gonna keep doing this where we have to move the goalposts and ask, why didn't you protest for them? Why didn't you leave a tribute for them? Why didn't you do something equal for them? Because arguably the system failed them. This country didn't do something for them. They didn't uphold accountability. And then you get stuff like, oh, more blacks die to blacks than to whites, and I don't know. I just feel like it's just not the point. That's literally not the point. This is about police brutality. This is about oppression. This is about systemic racism, And it's tough because, like, I appreciate when people legitimately do want to understand. It's like, please help me out here. I'm curious. Like, why is this an issue this time? Why should we be paying attention? I mean, first of all, like, why would George Floyd not be special, right? It's kind of messed up. But I get it. We live in paradoxes, okay? When it's one man, it's a tragedy. When it's millions, it's a statistic. Blah blah blah, right? I mean, in a way, that's how I already feel about how this country kind of treats people, right, as human capital. And depending on the color of your skin, you might be worth more or less. And damn, I really feel like things haven't changed, you know, because you can kind of rewind a little bit to when black people are only worth 3/5 of a vote, and then rewind a little bit to when they were slaves, so they were owned as property. And I don't know. I sometimes I genuinely think that people don't really think about how it could feel to be in that position. If anything, I'm pretty sure most people would not even think about this at all. And sadly, yeah, I've thought about it, and that fucking sucks. Like, imagine having zero idea of your own family line, your own lineage, your own ancestry, because your ancestors were taken away and sent somewhere else. Their identity is removed. You don't know where you come from. You don't know what your culture is supposed to be like. You make your own in your new home, but someone else owns you like they would own, you know, one of their farm animals or even one of their objects in their homes. They force you to work. Then you go through the Civil War. You know, a lot of blacks fought for the Union in order to free themselves. And there was this very short amount of time. Things were kind of nice. But it really felt like the system wanted to keep them down, you know? It's like, rich blacks, we can't have that. Burn it all down. Jim Crow laws. You know, just always finding a reason to discriminate. I've been listening to a lot of media lately about kind of from my different podcast feeds or the shows I follow. And they're all talking about different really good perspectives on this. And I think you might really enjoy them, purely because there's a lot of different voices to be heard, you know? And they bring up a lot of good points. Like, there's so much behind this, and this is why it's so difficult to record this video, because are we gonna go through a fucking like full history lesson now? But anyway, yeah, I guess the problem, right, is that, yeah, it's great if you want to learn more. I definitely think that's the way to go. If anything, that I was in the same position as you in the past. I was a very typical middle class Asian American from SoCal, right? Like, probably borderline Republican leaning. This is very like, oh, we just gotta suck up to white people and make a lot of money and it'll be fine, right? Oh, but black people they're always bad. They're always racist against us and stuff, right? Damn, dude. Damn. Like, I get it, dude. Yeah, the whole coronavirus stuff, that wasn't good for us. It still isn't, you know? Asians are still getting attacked. And you can argue that they're predominantly done by black people. But are you still gonna do the whole like, well, this condemns all black people type of argument? Like get fucking real, dude. I mean, it's the same tactic that's used against Asians. You're gonna get the same cowardly shit, such as like, I'm not Chinese, I'm some other Asian. I don't have connections to China. I'm not one of those people. Yeah, it just sucks. But like, yeah, if you genuinely want to learn more, you could do better by educating yourself. And this is where I realized one of my supposed faults. The reason why I get worked up over this now is because I realize, you know, these are parts of me that I've kind of left behind, or I feel like are behind me now. So I just said like the same thing, right? But yeah, I used to think, oh, you know, why is everything about race? Like, why couldn't they just tell me, you know? But it's like, it's exhausting, dude. Like, I was reading this thread from this black woman, and she's saying it's so exhausting being like everyone's like one black friend now, because they all come up to me and they're like, how can I do better? You know, like what, like please educate me. It's like bitch, dude, like 9 out of 10 people talking to me right now are asking me to fucking tell them about their own history and why everything is like the way it is, right? But you know what's also true is history is written by the victors, right? History is also warped, changed, revised. The what is that group called? The like the Daughters of the Confederacy or whatever. Like their whole deal was to glorify the antebellum South, you know? It was to rewrite history to say the South was the victim. You know, that they had no choice but to fight. And they wanted to raise up Confederate statues in the 1900s so that they could celebrate their culture and their history. But it's like, dude, like Robert E. Lee even said, don't raise a statue of me. And you know, like the future VP or the potential VP of the vice president of the Confederacy was like, yeah, we were fighting this war for slaves. Like, okay, USA, you know. So I guess that's part of the problem, is that, you know, it is easy to be a bystander. It is easy to just watch this from afar. And sometimes, yeah, I feel like I'm not doing enough, you know. But at the same time, yeah, I'll admit, like, I'm in no hurry to like rush into like a protest and potentially get arrested and brutalized by police. Well, to be fair, I have to give mad props to my hometown. A group got organized by some local students, and it was completely peaceful. They joined hands with the sheriffs, sat down on the lawn together. They spoke and shared stories, and there was a mutual understanding. And honestly, I feel like that's, in a way, that's kind of all that needs to happen, at least for now, is that maybe the police could just like listen to the people that are feeling pain and anger and anguish. I mean, you see plenty of instances of it, like the sheriff from Flint, Michigan. Like, he walked with the protesters. That was fantastic. Then you got PR stunts, such as all the police that are kneeling alongside the protesters, and then immediately afterwards they start tear gassing them. So I don't know if things are going to get better or if they're going to get worse. There's a very cynical view, which I just listened to recently, and if you were to see images like this from another country, you would say that country is on the brink of civil war. And that legitimately frightens me. On the other hand, you see a lot of people join together in solidarity, again, against oppression. And the reason why it's called Black Lives Matter is because, according to the system, Black lives don't have as much value as everyone else's lives. In a way, that's why all lives matter is an insult to them, you know? It's kind of like, yeah, no shit, all lives should matter, but why are Black lives cheaper, right? If you're going to start talking about like human capital and all that shit again, it's like, okay, great. Like, have fun seeing life as part of the cog in the machine, you know? Like, I get it. Plenty of people are just willing to admit defeat, so to speak. It's like, well, this is just the way it's going to be anyway. I mean, yeah, you participate in society, you participate in capitalism because you have to make a living, to feed your family, to live, right? But like, there's actual change that can be made too. And so I guess that leads to the whole, like, what's the right way to protest, right? Like, why can't you like do that without looting? And it's like, it's so, I get a headache because it's kind of clear when you start seeing the documentation of these protests that the majority of them are peaceful. Peaceful protesters outnumber the rioters like crazy. what is happening is the media is showing you every moment of violence because that's what makes the news, you know? Torching a police car, capture that. Rioters breaking into Target, capture that. Oh, but does it matter that they're not like actual Black Lives Matter protesters? No, dude. There's plenty of people who are jumping in on these protests and riots because it's an opportunity. It's a time of chaos. Anarchists, extreme leftists, extreme right-wingers, Antifa, Proud Boys. All like it's fucking Fortnite, dude. It's Battle Royale. It's disgusting, you know? It's an opportunity. And I don't know, it's weird. Like, people will admit it's, yeah, I get it. It's an opportunity, so people are there. But, you know, the protesters should stop it. And I get it. Like, yeah, the protesters should self-police, ironically, because you can't call the police to go and stop these rioters. I mean, you have instances of cops would rather arrest huge numbers of protesters, and they let, you know, I guess these like white nationalists just run free with weapons in their arms. And every city's different, every county is different, every state is different, and it's absolutely crazy sometimes. And we're still in the middle of a fucking pandemic. I can see why people are like, we're fucking doomed. Oh man. And the other day, it's like, I was looking at Twitter, and it's like, yeah, all this crazy shit's going down, and what are our politicians doing? Some of them are announcing, you know, action that will be taken against China for human rights violations. And I'm like, oh, the irony. So yeah, this can spiral out of control really easily. I don't know, dude. It's really tough. It's really tough. I tried, but I don't think I can do this video proper justice at all. Like, if anything, I'm gonna have to do a lot of research. I'm gonna create some sort of like, I'm gonna create a masterclass, then you can sign up for $9.95 per month. Yeah, it'll be $100 or $99.95 in a 1-year payment. No, I'm just kidding. It's terrible. No, but like, for real, there are definitely a lot of resources out there, and I don't want to like link bombard, because then it's like, what's even the point of like dumping stuff like that? I'll leave the how you can contribute card, because I think there's like a guide on how to be a good activist, or at least to learn about why this is even happening, you know? Yeah, this is not particularly just one instance of like, oh, one black guy gets killed by a cop. This has been a long time coming. I definitely believe that. I definitely believe that there's been serious problems in this country that have, you know, there's no end in sight. There's nothing, doesn't look like it's going to be fixed. And so what happens then, you know? Oh, you can't kneel at the national anthem. Don't protest like that. You can't protest like this either. Don't do it this way. I mean, the whole point of a protest is to rise up against the current system, right? So I don't know. I see too many of the patterns now. It's the same shit over and over again. The same arguments used to like discredit the movement, the same arguments used to discredit people who want change, honestly. But yeah. Well, yeah, I'm sorry for this one, because I really thought I could make a video kind of explaining, you know, be more well-rounded about how I feel about it and what I would like to see, but it's just I don't know, man. I'm not done processing my feelings about this whole thing. But if you do want to help, there's ways to learn about the US's history. There's ways to learn about how you can help, how you can contribute to bail funds, how you can contribute to the protesters themselves, contribute to organizations, the boots on the ground that are helping these communities during this time. And you can also donate to small businesses that have been affected in the collateral damage, you know. Definitely, if you feel so strongly about you know, like, you can protest but you can't loot. Like, yeah, but like those looters they're other people, you know. And so I don't know, like, besides like all of us going out there and getting guns and defending other people's stores, like, you know, what else are you gonna do? There's other ways, I guess. One of the most powerful videos that I saw recently was there's two black men at a protest. One of them's like 46, 45. The other one's 31. And they're arguing with each other. But it's because the 31-year-old, the younger one, is saying this is not the way. We can't be using violence. And he pulls this kid over, this black kid. He's like, he's 16. You know, he's 16. And you're telling him to put his body in harm's way. He's like, I'm 31 and I'm mad. You're 46 and you're mad. He's 16 and he's mad. This is generations of pain, dude. And the sad thing is they don't come to a proper resolution. Like, the younger man argues that this is not the way to do it. But what is the right way? And then the older man just says, you know, he's had enough. He's 46 years old. He's seen these protests and these problems his whole life. And he would rather die that day. He would rather put his life on the line because he's sick of it. And the younger man tells the kid, he says, you remember this day. You remember what I'm doing here. You do this when 10 years from now, when all this is happening again, you do the same. He's basically telling him to protect the youth, you know, keep them alive. And it's so fucking sad. Because that was like the truest representation of how bad they have it right now. So yeah, I mean, I'm hoping for the best, you know, like, sadly that might just be a case of like, oh, we just gotta wait till everything blows over and justice might not be served, which I really hope it isn't the case. There's a lot of weird shit going on though, like dudes dressed up in completely black suits with ski masks on and umbrellas breaking windows. Piles of bricks just laid out in the streets ready to be thrown. It's a lot of there are people benefiting from this. That's the thing. That's the sad thing. And they benefit from all of us being divided, right? And that's a huge problem. It's a very huge problem. Like, they want, if anything, they want the blacks to hate the Chinese to hate the Koreans to hate the Latinos, you know? Even like hating on white people, like, that just divides all of us. It doesn't do us any good, you know? So anyway, I don't know where I can even go with this anymore. But yeah, I hope things, I mean, I can only hope, because one silver lining is all four of those cops that were there, that the one who did the killing and the three who, well, two of them were also on top of him. One just stood there and didn't do anything. They've all been arrested. They all have mugshots now. But next is trial. They have to actually be tried for their crimes, you know? And that's I can foresee some real mad shit going down if nothing happens. If anything, it might be like a lighter sentence or something. I think they've upped the charges to like murder to the second degree, I believe. But anyway, otherwise you'd be seeing like LA riots status, right? But I can foresee it being really crazy because, you know, we're looking at what, 30 to 40 million unemployed, restrictive movement laws in place. Which, by the way, now there's like curfews and shit, and like cops will in certain cities will shoot on site. It's funny, just funny, because before there were huge protests about like, oh, let us out, let us go do our own thing. This isn't martial law. This is not how the United States works. You know, you got calls for potentially, you know, all the National Guard units are being mobilized, and then it's like the president wants to bring in the actual federal army. I mean, those are definitely signs of an impending civil war, unfortunately. So, and the only way to, I was like, the only way to drag us out of this is going to be, let's just declare war on China instead, right? So yeah, I don't know. It's tough because if I think about this too much, I get way too pessimistic about it, and I realize that, you know, someday, you know, you and I will be in the concentration camps. We'll look at each other. I'll stare you in the eyes, and it'll look like we want to say something. Our lips will move, and we'll stop. And then I'll be like, what's up? It's your boy D-Change coming at ya with another Daily Dave. Peace out, guys.